tonight, so
Okay.
yeah, I'll let you know.
3, 2, 1. Anything? Of course, it's
Yep, we're good.
awesome. All right. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to
Hi, Nick.
Beer Analysis 101 with your host, Greg
Happy Halloween,
Willstar.
Nick.
Hi, Greg. Maxwell Star. Anyway, tonight we're doing spooky beers. Or actually, we were intending to do pumpkin beers, and then if you can't get a pumpkin and want to get a spooky beer, go ahead. Kind of diversifying a little, and just because of that kind of attitude, we actually have 7 people on the panel tonight, so that's great turnout. Yay! So let's start who we have with us. Beginning, of course, with the first person who usually shows up for everything is Mr. Redbeard, who's got a pumpkin-colored beard already. He's super festive. Awesome.
Yeah, I should
Hey.
put some black things or something. I could make jack-o'-lantern on my beer.
Nice.
Um,
So what'd you bring tonight?
there really isn't a lot of options here in North Bay, so I grabbed like these 2 beers, and I'm just gonna kind of cuvee them, I think, because why not? I got
Bays
Great Lakes and Lake of Bays pumpkin. They're both like
Nice.
just the most basic bitch pumpkin beers that exist, kind of thing. Like, I've had them both before. They're both okay. They both have pumpkin, but like there's some incredible pumpkin beers out there.
What was the Lake of
And
Bays
this is-
pumpkin called? I remember we did that one year on BA 101.
What's their beer? It's called a pumpkin ale.
Very, yeah, okay. It's
creative.
really stretching it there. Well, I mean, isn't that
Yeah.
what GLB calls theirs?
Yep.
Yeah, theirs is also a pumpkin ale. So
Yeah,
I mean, at least it tells you what it is.
you're not wrong.
Hopefully, they both have pumpkin in them.
The Lake of Bays one has vanilla extract. Ooh,
Ooh, fancy. All
and
right, there.
spices.
All right, thank you, Beardo. Let's go to the next one that we have with us, which is, of course, Mr. Lee. Lee, I can't remember the name that you had on.
Lil Russell.
No, it was Phineas Pumpkin Hitterton the 4th.
Cheerio.
But Nicholas, happy to be here. You know, people they talk about you. They say you're a clod, an oaf, a fool,
Okay.
a knave, a man of low character.
Low.
That's just
And-
what I said.
Well,
Happy to be on the show.
It's the name. Don't worry about it, you know. So what'd you bring with you tonight?
I brought from Breton Brewing, from Cape Breton here in Nova Scotia, their spiced up pumpkin ale
Ooh,
at 5.5% alcohol by volume.
Let's see.
nice. That sounds cool. All right. Right on.
spiced up, eh?
All right.
Spiced up.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Let's go over to everybody's favorite Greg. Hi, Greggy. If it'll load. There you go. Greg's.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing
This
fine.
is weird. I can't even tell if I'm on screen. It's not like Steam where it just pops up. So I'll assume I'm on screen.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm here with a very spooky pumpkin. Boo, spooky.
Spooky Arnold.
I got my orange shirt on. I could wear my orange helmet, but that might be a little overkill, so I don't want to do that. Also, I don't know if you can
You
see
don't
it,
have
but
a William
orange
Shatner.
pumpkin is falling over, but it's out there.
Nice.
It's spooking the neighborhood. And so, yeah, we're definitely ready for Halloween. Definitely very pumpkin-y. And what did I bring? Well, so my choice was, I mean, first all, Ontario choices for pumpkin beer sucks. So pretty much anyone in Ontario, unless there's some brewery that local and makes it. I'm not aware of that many breweries that make it. It's not in the LCBO. But mainly Ontario pumpkin beers, their selection kind of sucks. The beers are fine, but they're just not that interesting compared to what they were even a few years ago. But my beer is special because not only do I think it's actually the best pumpkin beer available this year, but our good friend Drunk Pokeroo, who I know doesn't watch this show, but I know he fucking hates this beer because he doesn't like Flying Monkeys because they don't give him free beer.
Yeah.
So,
Flying Monkeys.
fuck you, Drunk Pokeroo. This is the best pumpkin beer available this year. And yes, it is 2001 vintage. They did fucking release last year's beer, which is kind of a bit of a dick move. However, this beer has aged very nicely. And I actually think it's the best pumpkin beer this
Somebody
year.
probably
So,
cracked one
Theater
open
of
out of a
Madness.
year-old pallet and said, "Hey, we can still sell this."
I mean, they totally did it. I mean, you know what? I mean, you think about it. I mean, there's not hops in this beer. There are hops, but like not very many. It's not a very hop forward beer. I mean, it's mostly malt and flavors and other shit. So I mean, I don't know. Like I don't remember quite what it tasted last year. I suppose maybe
As
I
long
can
as it
check
doesn't
my
like
tap.
taste gross or something, because it's starting to turn a little like that old beer kind of taste.
No, I mean this beer is. The first time I tried this beer, I didn't realize it was last year's beer, and I liked it. I'm like, this is really good. And I bought a whole bunch of pumpkin beers. I sort of did a taste test within a couple. I did. I basically tasted them all within a few days of each other, and this was my favorite one. And I've bought several others since then and retasted, and I still continue to think this is the best one available this year. Is it amazing compared to shit we used to be able to get like pumpkin? No, but it's very solid. It's still my favorite Ontario one this year,
Nice.
or whatever our crappy
At least they
selection
didn't
is.
pull a Muskoka and then brand it as 2000 like last year's cellared version or some shit.
Yeah, put it in
And then
a
charge
fucking
extra.
cardboard. Yeah, put in a cardboard thing and charge $14 for it.
What did New Ontario did some fucking thing where they had their Halloween beer, and then they resold it as like a spiced Christmas ale or some shit. The ones that didn't sell or something,
Jesus.
and it worked. Like it's like people are dumb, the breweries are shiesty kind of
All
thing.
right.
May I interject that drunk pokeroo looks like the bloated corpse of an intoxicated circus clown, and that's on a good day.
Jesus.
He's basically the reincarnation of John Gacy. So
I believe he may have serial killed at some point in Minecraft.
now we don't want to get sued. So this is allegedly. We're not.
Yeah.
We're
I
not.
said in Minecraft.
We're not stating anything for the record. It's all
In
alleged.
Minecraft.
He's got beer koozies made of human skin.
Yes, in Minecraft.
All right.
He
So
murdered
let's
7 children in Minecraft.
stop digging that pokeroo. Can't retaliate. And you know,
Like
you
the
probably never watched
graves
the
he
show.
dug in his
What's the
basement
grave-
in Minecraft.
Oh God. All right. Next up,
Just
we
adult
got
YouTube.
Guy. We're doing our beer show,
Speaking of
Justin.
Justin.
Just in time.
Anyway. All right. So Guy, how you doing tonight?
Good you.
Mm.
I had so many choices. I cheated. I went to Brouhaha, so I got 2 beers because the labels from them and Berthiaume from Saint-Jean, Rue Richelieu, Quebec. Because I picked these up because of the labels. But you said preferably pumpkin beer, so I'm gonna try their pumpkin beer.
Love.
So this is
Pouvain.
the Pouvain, which is the more expensive one. This is their Scotch, but I'm gonna try their pumpkin beer.
What
That's-
kind of pumpkin beer is that? Label's pretty
Yeah.
badass.
So that's a spiced pumpkin
So-
beer from what I read in the back. 6.5%, but it's
That looks
$7
awesome.
bucks.
That
$7.
label's
Who
fantastic,
makes that
man.
again?
That's
Is
really
it,
nice.
Pharma Reed.
Fancy French art.
Is that
Oh,
Well,
Brasserie
there you go.
Domaine Birth. So fuck.
I feel like I had something by them when I went to Bruja.
all the labels are awesome.
I like
Yeah,
that
those are
Gremlin one. That's
those are really cool.
Alrighty. Thank you, Guy. And I realized just flipped past Ashley. I'm gonna go back to Ashley here. Hi, Ash.
Oh,
Well, you didn't really
Ooh,
pass
we
me
just
over.
lost
I mean,
Guy.
you're just going around.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back. So what I really wanted to bring was Greg's, but I couldn't find it again because I wanted to taste what the year-old fucking pumpkin beer was like. Thankfully, I don't follow Drunk Pokeroo anymore, but I'm not surprised to hear that he had bitching and complaining about it because he's bitching.
Very cool.
So anyways, what I did end up bringing, because it was the only option that was left at my LCBO today, and I wasn't really going to venture too far for this. So, but I brought GLB's Pumpkin Ale, which I think. Oh, I'm not going to talk about my history yet. But yeah, Pumpkin Ale, beer
Alright.
brewed with pumpkin and spices. There we go.
Nice.
And wheat. They put wheat in theirs, which is
ooh.
different
We
than
got
the
some meat
like
in there.
maize one.
Oh.
Alright.
I'll get there later. Cheers.
Okay, and finally
And
we
I'm-
get.
And I'm drinking
Great.
Bone Shakers. So there we go.
Nice.
That's a spooky beer as well. There we go.
There you go.
About it.
You literally do.
Got it.
I'm not
Got
a-
it on it.
Nice.
And for Carrie, it says it's Brouhaha. Mine was canned on the 5th of October.
Oh, nice. That's
It's pretty fresh.
oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Similar with Bone Shaker, it is a little spooky because you never really know what the age is going to be like on these fucking things. It's a grenade. It's like you don't know. It's either aged like 9 months in the sun, or it just got off the canning line. So here we go.
Didn't they call those Nazi grenades potato mashers? So that would fit with you.
There we go.
Potato masher, not the Nazi
Mashing
part.
seconds
Potato
potato.
masher part.
Surely.
Thanks for the reminder, man. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Thank you, Ash. All right, let's move over to Lady Lee. Nice to have Lady Lee with us. He's got the mushroom hat. Because that Lady Lee likes mushrooms.
Mushroom
There
hat.
we go. I decided to get festive as well. I also have my little candle going.
Ooh.
Ooh.
My
That's
dollar
actually
store
cool.
awesomeness. Yeah. So that's my Halloween for today. And this is part of my costume for this weekend. But I'm going as Luigi.
Oh,
I
it's
decided to
With
wear
your
the-
Mario hat. Okay, I get it.
No, I'm wearing the Mario hat right now because I'm going as Luigi. So I didn't want to wear my
She's,
hat.
She's Luigi, who identifies as Mario.
No, I'm just Luigi.
Isn't Luigi the taller one?
Yep.
Luigi is the taller one.
Well, that's ironic.
All right. Oh, Lake of Bays.
There we go.
And as we've already seen, heard, all the rest of that fun stuff. Like a phase pumpkin ale. That is the one I chose. That is the one I'm drinking tonight.
Awesome.
And
All right.
That's
All right. Thank you, Lady Lee. And, of course,
But-
it's brought back over to...
That
Who's talking?
I'm sorry. I'd be remiss not to say that that's one of Drunk Pokeroo's prostitute breweries.
Lake of
man.
Bays. Oh, this is where he whores it out and gets some big free shit.
Or like
Yeah,
Lake of Prostitutes.
Oh, we can't hold his sins against Lady Lee.
it's
I
called
do
Beer
enjoy.
Worker.
I'm sorry. What was that?
It's called Beer Worker.
Yeah, there we go.
So you
Is it
sell
beer,
yourself
Becca?
in order to get free beer.
Ah,
Oh,
that's the more PC term.
All right. Okay, so let's bring me back up because, hey, I brought a beer tonight, too. I'm going to do...
mixing this?
Take a wild guess what brewery I'm
Mhm.
doing. Yeah? I'll wait.
Bourbon County.
Yeah.
Bourbon County Pumpkin Ale.
Yeah, no, Hammond River County.
No. Oh,
Hammond.
never would have guessed.
Hammond.
All right, yeah. So I got lucky
It's a
and went to.
pumpkin
and-
blueberry ale.
Yes, they're pumpkin blueberry. No, it's the Maitresse Pumpkin Ale, 5.3% ABV from Hammond River Brewing. They brew it once a year, and it's actually I'll give my beer history in a moment here. But yeah, I went down to the brewery and got lucky. Otherwise, I would have been stuck drinking this thing this year, which I wasn't really. I mean, it's not a bad beer. I just wasn't as excited about drinking this one as something interesting that
But you bought it
nobody
anyway to
else can
drink
get. Yeah. Anyway, so I see that we have a few comments in there, including some from
Yeah.
Radar and Runic Languages or something.
Yeah, I'll read the readable ones, the legible ones.
Alrighty, I'll put you back up on the screen there, Lee.
Okay, Bubba Sadie's says New Ontario's pumpkin beer is a weeder called Peter Pumpkin Weeder.
Perfect.
I
drink
want
for
to
the
say I
life
had that one. I want to say I brought that one last year for our pumpkin episode and wasn't a fan at all. So I didn't even consider going there looking for a pumpkin beer this year.
Yeah.
And another brother brewery here, Gateway City, they just don't brew a pumpkin beer as far as I know.
A
They're
lot
not.
of breweries don't.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's nice.
so Radar goes on to say tonight's what's next week's beer will be in Amharic.
Hameric, Aramaic.
He's going down the alphabet of languages
Yeah,
apparently.
he
So
says
yeah.
Soundbite and BA101 chat. I'm not checking that out. Then he wrote a bunch of squiggles, and then he wrote some other shit that looks like here's how you pronounce it on Wikipedia, and it's not helpful at all. And then we have someone called Big Rome saying, "What's next decade's beer?"
Wow, that's.
It must be Jamie.
I don't think any of us are going to be alive in a decade. Maybe Lady Lee, and that'll be it.
Yeah, she'll probably make it, but the rest of us are dead.
I'd hope, Guy's child has a father for at least a bit more than 10 years, personally.
The kid will be better off. Let's all admit it.
We're all gonna drink this Lehman 2.5%.
Yeah, we don't want Guy teaching a life how to be.
Let's face it, none of us are good role models.
That was a
except for
weird-
Lady Lee.
That was a weird thing to say, Greg.
Right.
See, this one's a Greg. You avoid this one. This one.
You do avoid Greg.
I'm hanging out with a group of delinquents? How am I
Rep-
the?
Reprobates. You're slumming it. That's the thing. You're making yourself look good by default.
How am I the person who is someone people should look up to? I do not think so at all.
I mean,
You're-
nobody looks
we're-
up to you because you're kind of short, so they all look down to you. But
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean
okay.
that's true.
All right,
It's more
all
of a
right.
charity thing, right?
All right, so let's circle back around and and we'll talk about histories with the viewers. We'll start with Redbeard, who's got. I don't know if you want to decide to do one or the other, or both, or just Cuvium and then give
Yeah,
spoilers
well,
and how Lady
I-
Lee's and Ashley's beers are going to taste.
Well, I poured about yay much of each beer and drank it on its own, and now I am into the cuvee. And on their own, each one not bad. Like I've had each one before. I want to say Great Lakes I've had more of, or like the one I had first, kind of when they used to sell it in the glass bottles. The Lake of Bays pumpkin stuff. I've had it like the last couple years, I want to say, but not as far back as the Great Lakes one, and the Lake of Bays one. It's got a bit of an edge with that. The vanilla, I don't know what it is, but it's a bit more pumpkin pie-y. But them together, the Lake of Bays one is way darker in color than the Great Lakes one. But they come together in a pretty fucking nice way. Like,
Good history.
yeah. Cheers.
Alrighty. Okay, so who we got next? We got Lee. Hey, Lee. Any history with this? I kind of interested in hearing more about this spice pumpkin you got here. Anyway, what's the details on it, and what's your history with it?
I thought I had reviewed it actually, but I was just looking at my channel there for a second, and I don't think I've actually reviewed that, so I got to get around to that. My history of it is this has been out a couple years now for Breton Brewing. I tried it, I think it was last year or the year before, and quite enjoyed it. So it was like, oh, a good, decent pumpkin ale to bring to this. I've got a few options. When I went to get it this week, though, my few options all of a sudden went down to two. It was either this or the Propeller Pumpkin, which has made a comeback in quality. It was down in quality for quite a while there, but anyway. So Breton Brewing here in Cape Breton, like I said, 5.5% alcohol by volume, 20 IBUs. This pumpkin ale is brewed with over 150 pounds of roasted pumpkin and perfectly spiced to give it that hint of delicious pumpkin pie fall flavor. And it listed here, it's got all the classic stuff, right? It's got the cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and allspice. Basically, your classic pumpkin spices.
Okay, so it's not like they added habanero or chilies to it. It's just loads of the good, like the pumpkin pie spices with real pumpkin.
A spot. I have a chili infused pumpkin ale could be tasty though. Come to think of it, if not,
I think it would be.
if done,
Oh,
if
yeah, I
done
think it would
nicely,
probably
yeah,
be pretty
that
good.
sounds
Like, have a nice little peppery
sounds
burn
like-
in the back. Be nice.
yeah.
Especially when you think of it like
would be
spiced.
good.
Well, actually, it was
chai teas and stuff like that. Like that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Cayman Kettle.
Oh,
that
would be,
one they
that'd be
did.
good. You get
That
like a
one they
little
did
bit
a
of
few
chai.
years ago. Sorry, Nick. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say get a little bit of a chai spice, like cardamom or something like that in there. Oh, that would be
Fuck
so
yo
good with
chai.
pumpkin. Fuck you,
Oh,
chai.
yeah, Cayman Kettle did one a few years ago that was like ghost pepper pumpkin beer. I remember that.
Yeah,
And
the Jack-o'-lantern fire.
Yeah, it wasn't. Was it Jack o' Lantern, just Jack o' Fire?
Well, whatever.
Whatever it was, they sent me a crowler of it, and I remember Klazak hated it. He's not a spicy guy. He can't tolerate spice, so he thinks that
He eats
so
Red
he,
Baron pizzas. What do you expect?
he talks all down about it, like why would you want to hurt your blah blah blah. And it's like you just can't take it, man. Deal with it. But I had that beer, and it was outrageously spicy, but it was also fucking delish. Probably like one of my most memorable Halloween pumpkin beer I've ever had, probably for sure. That stuff was
Nice helmet,
crazy.
Greg.
All right. So, thank you,
A
Lee.
pumpkin.
We'll just waiting for Redbeard to finish talking at a turn. All right. So, who's up next?
You know how I
We got-
roll. I love you.
Speaking of Greg's helmet, let's take a look at Greg's helmet.
Wow,
He's
it's weird.
wearing
Every
his-
time you go to me, Nick, it's like the whole chat crashes for me and like for a second or two, and then everyone hangs. Then when I come back. So I don't know. It's weird, Nick. I think
Yeah,
you're
maybe
sending
maybe
bad
it's your problem.
vibes. So anyway, this is oh,
Is that going to work?
You try.
No.
Does the chin thing just detach on that thing?
No, it does not. So I
That-
need to either get a straw or take this thing off. Anyway, my history with it is I've untapped it once last year, so I probably had the same vintage of this beer, and I said it was a very good pumpkin beer. 3.75 out of 5. How exciting. So that's my entire history of it. And yes, I've had a few Flying Monkeys products before. And despite what some people say, it is a very good brewery. And also, it's their beer with chunks in it is delicious.
Wouldn't it be funny if they were both from the same batch? One that you drank this year versus last year. It'd be
I
hilarious.
mean, I don't know how many batches do you think they'd make of something limited like this?
Not many.
They probably made too much last year. It didn't sell that much. So they're like,
But-
well, we'll see what happens. And then somebody said, they tried one. This is still fine. Ship it out. Do you think maybe we should change the date? Like get rid of the date? No, it's fine. No one will notice. Yeah.
Well, I know I know with GLB, like they always make too much pumpkin ale, so they always start selling it in like early July, and then they end up late July, and then they will literally just keep having it on the shelf till it sells out, which is usually like December. So you've basically got almost a 6-month span where you can enjoy GLB pumpkin beer if you choose to.
That's funny.
All right. So,
All right.
okay. All right. So, thank you, Greg. I'll allow you to take you off screen so you can take your helmet off and drink your beer.
Well,
It does
actually,
kind
have a look
of
at
look
that
like a
helmet.
jack-o'-lantern in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that kind of cool? It actually looks like a jack-o'-lantern. from the top.
That is pretty funny, to be honest. Yeah, that's cool.
Does it say
Yeah.
silver shamrock on the back of the helmet?
No, sadly
No?
not. It says MIPS on the back.
MIPS.
That's the thing that prevents my brain from dying.
How many days to Halloween? 6 more days? 6 more days till Halloween. Halloween.
Oh man, could you imagine if we got Tom Atkins on a beer? You know, that'd be amazing.
All right. So who's next here? We got. Let's go to Monsieur Catfish, Captain Ashfish. Hey Ashley,
Yes.
what's your history with the beer you got?
So again, I have the GLB Pumpkin Ale. I do have a history with this beer. My recorded digital history goes back to 2017, September 5th, to be exact. I gave it a score of whatever, and I don't have any other mentions of this in my digital world, so I don't know. I typically don't go to this style, so it's quite possible this is the first time I've had it since then, but I don't know. Maybe I've had it in previous videos where we had to bring a pumpkin beer for Halloween. Fuck, I don't know. But it's never memorable enough that I'd remember, obviously, other than this one instance in 2017. So here we go.
Nice. It's so unremarkable I don't remember it.
Exactly.
All right, thanks Ash. Let's go to Monsieur Guy. Where's Guy?
He walked away.
He had a phone call.
Oh, we had a phone call. He had to use the toilet. All right, let's move over to who's next. Let's talk to Lee.
Turns out
Hi,
it's
Lee.
twins.
Hello.
Hello.
So history with this specific beer, it's my first time having it. But history with Lake of Bays, I know that Lou Dog's got a few free beers for them, so have had them before. Can't remember what. I just remember that we got a couple.
The
that I got
biggest
to try
Subaru.
out. But that's it. That's my story. That's my history.
All
That
right.
is all.
Yeah, just trying to take a look. I thought you were on the original BA101 for that beer. Maybe not. When did we do the pumpkin ale? 3 years ago. Oh, right. I remember that episode. Greg was wearing Pippi
That's a little before
Longstockings.
Lady Lee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's before we got cool.
Well, I can still get that wig.
It's
if you
before
want.
Lady Lee was a thing, before she existed.
Right. Yeah, she just
What's
sort of
wrong-
appeared out of nowhere. She can't hear what you're saying. So, anyway, let's take the attention off of her. You know what? I'm going to just introduce the beer I'm drinking, but hopefully Guy will be back by that point. Such class, disappearing. He's got the most awesome sounding beer so far, but just sort of disappears. So,
Well,
yeah.
you know, difficult to trust the French, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I'm drinking Hammond River's Maîtresse pumpkin ale. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, but I kind of know who it's named after. One of my Facebook friends and a guy I have drank with the guy before at certain New Brunswick beer things. Elaine, his mother passed away about 7 years ago, or just before Halloween. So Shane did him a solid by renaming his pumpkin beer after her. So I think that's around the time this came out, like Halloween season 2015, and I remember having it. I didn't tap it apparently, but I remember buying a growler of it and drinking it when it first came out, and I never tapped it, and I've had it a number of times over the last few years. Never tapped it, but I guess when it came to it, I'm like, pumpkin beers, you can take them or leave them. I've had a lot of pumpkin beers over the years, but it's always been like that niche thing, and it's kind of weird. Like, they almost seem to be disappearing lately. Like, I remember when the first pumpkin beer I ever had was Propeller Pumpkin Ale way back in 2010 or 2011 or something. And
I got a parking emergency. I'll pop in later.
Okay. Well, good
Hope
luck.
everything's okay, dude.
Yeah.
You everything good?
Oh, well, no, somebody took her spot and she can't park, so I gotta go help her park. Anyways, the beer, there's no history with the beer, but
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just assume you have no
All right.
history with the beer. We'll see you in a bit.
Cheers, man.
All right. So he's got the masturbation hood on his webcam turned on. All right. So where was I? Yeah, like back in 2011, I think, is the first time I ever had a pumpkin beer, and I remember it being such a niche thing that, you had all these British styles, you had all these Belgian styles, and then you had this one weird one where somebody put pumpkin in a fucking beer. So it was just odd. It's always been a niche thing, but it's become more common. And then they went from pumpkin beers that tasted like pale ales with pumpkin added, and then pumpkin pie beers. And then all of a sudden, pumpkins just sort of faded away. And you don't even see them in seasonals anymore. And it used to be at one point that almost every brewery made one. But, this kind of harkens to a time when every brewery made a pumpkin beer. And it's just one that hasn't disappeared. And I guess there's a reasonable reason for it. But, it's not one that I always gravitate to every year. I don't even gravitate to pumpkin beers all that often. But overall, like, it's a decent one I'll pick up every once in a while whenever I want to just get a bunch of Hammond River beers around this time of year. So, all right, all rambling aside, I'm going to put Lee up to read any more comments. We have Paul's in the chat. I see Paul in the chat.
Yeah, we got some comments here. So,
All loves pumpkin beers.
Paul's going to have this chat taken down when somebody reads his comments.
So, Big Rome goes on to say, so Molson Canadian then for next decade's beer, which is pretty funny.
Pretty accurate.
Bubba Sades says, yeah, Gateway tried to brew a pumpkin beer, but it self-identified as a blueberry ale, so they were stymied.
Jesus.
Nice.
Joel May says, the pumpkin batch.
Oh, that's Horatio.
Okay. PA Brew News says, look at these crazy bastards. Radar goes on to say, wait, is Space Invader Halloweenish? I don't know. I guess sometimes it can be.
It's based on a
Alien
video
invasion.
game.
Alien invasion movies are spooky.
They can be Halloweenish. They're genre mashups. Then Paul
That's a
goes on
stretch.
to, Paul goes on to say, pumpkin beers are like hard drugs. Never once and just say no. Cheers. Okay. Greg, I used to have the same prop pumpkin, but an ex broke it. Oh,
I thought he said sex broke it for a second there.
Well, I mean, maybe she probably shouldn't have tried to stick it up her ass.
He's like
That's
mouse
probably
and
what
mouth.
happened.
That thing just is waving in the background in Greg's window. I know it looks funny. I like it. Ooh,
Paul says Invaders from Mars is definitely Halloweenish radar. Yeah, the Toby Hooper film is kind of you could watch it on Halloween. Paul says when pumpkin beers completely disappear, humanity will advance to the next level. Cheers.
I agree.
Then Radar says,
Well,
Mars
we're inching
is,
closer.
well, Mars is in space. The beard Omicron space is in Mars.
I'm gonna say no just because of that comment.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going on about.
Yeah.
And then Paul says, Indeed Radar. Don't pretend like you understand what he's saying, Paul. Indeed Radar, but they are closer than some think as well. And he says, I don't gravitate to pumpkin beers or a gym often either. That's true. The writer says, please.
Well, now he's getting needy. God damn it, no.
You guys still hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
still
Yep.
hear you.
Okay.
I saw your lights flicker.
I'm having thunder. So it didn't knock out the computer, but it did turn my TV off briefly. Okay, there we
Oh,
go.
really?
Weird.
Weird. Yeah, you didn't lose a beat.
That's
yeah,
a good surge. That's a good surge protector.
Yeah, and I didn't get electrocuted either. That's with my headphones on.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, you know.
Love your silhouette.
Thanks, Greg.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Peg Bundy just joined the chat.
Okay.
Nobody likes redheads.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm not reading more comments.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to finish. I'm not reading more comments.
Difficult to finish sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Difficult to finish when people try to talk over it. Anyway, yeah, I do see that Dan's in the chat saying he's drinking a Fernie Brewing Ghost Rider Pumpkin Ale, and I almost wonder, like, why is he not drinking on Discord with us?
He has to make dinner for the family or some shit, apparently.
How can he possibly be able to drink and cook at the same time? Like, man, he's a man.
Radar.
A real Renaissance man. He can do everything, that Dan.
Or it's almost like you could just say to your wife, "Hey, I want to do a show for an hour. Could you mind covering for me?" But that's what a normal person would do. Call me crazy.
You're crazy.
Your hair's crazy.
Crazy. You crazy son of a bitch.
The bitch.
Anyway. I wonder if anybody saw the sub menus pop up. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I saw him pop up.
Yeah, well, the live stream would have seen me go on the menu and click disconnect at this window.
Can't read this.
We're in the middle of the fucking BA101. You know the rules. All right. So, I guess we want to.
Well, in the other chat, he was asking if a Space Invaders is Halloween enough to join.
Did you get to do
Well, no, the comments were here, and he said that. And,
oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get to do his history while he's back?
He's back, actually. I think he said there was no history, but...
Yeah, you had no history with the beer.
No, I went to the store, I looked for the labels. Then you said pumpkin beers. I was like, oh, you fucker, I grabbed the pumpkin beer. So I grabbed the pumpkin beer for their BA whatever.
All right. Yeah, that's a good call, actually.
That's what
Like, I
I
remember that. I mean, the other ones would have been fine because we were saying, hey, spooky beers, but...
Well, that one's I did recommend what is like spooky label ish. That's like
Wendigo.
pumpkin was.
That's another really cool looking label, man. It's like going to Brouhaha is like going to an art gallery where all the pieces of art are just really small but really cool looking. There's so much badass artwork on French beer
It
cans.
doesn't seem to be like a brewery. It just says canned at La Tuque.
A Wendigo
Person.
is like a supernatural being that's like.
Yeah, the Wendigo was one of the very first episodes of the show Supernatural. They encountered a Wendigo.
Yeah.
I remember that back in the day.
I honestly think that was like episode 1 or 2.
Oops, I think we just lost Geek.
And there's actually a Marvel super, not so much of it's kind of a villain. It's kind of like a werewolf thing, can lose control, but Wendigo is a character in the Marvel universe that's quite powerful.
It's basically just a spiritual Bigfoot in the Marvel universe. Wendigo is actually a Native American legend.
I want to say the issue where Wolverine was first introduced was him fighting the Wendigo or something, I believe.
So there was an update to Discord today, so fuck you, whoever made that update, because it just closed on its own and pops right back up.
There was a Discord update.
Discord has some weird, like, just I don't give a shit what you're doing right now. I'm gonna restart. Like it's a weird program, man.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
Radar
you
that
can't
said...
realize why Nick usually deals with StreamYard.
beer chat now?
Oh, it is Radar that said Space Invaders, and he's probably not watching anymore. He's probably mad that I kicked him out. I wonder
Well,
if I
be
can...
bad.
Nah.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the review.
All right.
Woo!
We're most of the way through this anyway. And many people are watching. You can't take much more of this. All right, we're actually at the stage here where we want to get final thoughts, I think. So, who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
That's, you know,
You're up.
the owner. Yeah. Ah!
Order.
Like I said before, they're both just fine on their own. The Lake of Bays one, the vanilla, I think might be the thing that does it, but it just tastes a bit more like when I drink a pumpkin beer, I want pumpkin pie flavor. That's, or like if it's something different, like that spicy one, you know, you can do different shit. It can be amazing, but generally, my deciding factor for a pumpkin beer is like how close do you get to a pumpkin pie, and the Great Lakes one, so with the Lake of Bays one, just a little bit more. So like, in terms of style, they're both decent pumpkin beers. I guess I'd give the Great Lakes one a 6.5 and the Lake of Bays one a 7.5 in terms of style. And then probably roughly the same for enjoyment. But when you cuvee these motherfuckers,
Okay, so what did you say for stuff for ratings? I was poor.
6.5 and 7.5.
For which one?
Great Lakes is 6.5. Lake of Bays is 7.5. And overall enjoyment, the same. And then the cuvee, though. I don't know what it is by adding the Great Lake, like adding the lesser quality beer, in my mouth's opinion, to the better quality beer.
MMO, my mouth's opinion.
Enhances them both. Yeah, MMO. But
Hashtag
yeah, like
MMO.
when you cuvee them, I'm going 8.5s across the board. This is really nice now. Like, it is really close to liquefied pumpkin pie at this point. So
It's probably like one's too sweet, one's not sweet enough, and they counter each other out to
Yeah.
a fine balance that tickles your palate.
I did
that
have a can of
erogenous
the I did have a can of the Flying Monkeys one. I almost wish I bought one of those as well to do like a three-way cuvee with them.
Redbeard's gonna do a cuvee of everybody's beer tonight. Just have a can shipped to
That'd be-
him.
That'd be fun. Like 10 different beers, pumpkin style. Cuvee them all and see what happens.
All at once with some
Okay.
chalet
Why not?
sauce.
The way you're stroking that isn't disturbing at all, lately. That's yeah, it's
I
excellent.
like it when she strokes the clown. That's a euphemism for something else.
Touch
but-
the clown.
Anyway, so yeah,
No euphemisms. I just get turned on when she strokes clowns.
Jesus.
happy Halloween, everyone.
Also hot.
We all stroke down here.
It's the Great Pumpkin.
Jesus.
All right. So, thank you, Beardo. Let's go over to Mr. Lee and see how that Brett and spiced up pumpkin turned out.
Pretty good. I was actually in error. I did find my review very quickly when I did a second search. Strangely enough, YouTube's search thing is really terrible when you go into your studio looking for your own fucking videos, but apparently I can find it just willy-nilly on the regular search for YouTube. So there you go. So I gave it, initially when I reviewed it a couple years back or whenever, I gave it a 8 for style and a 7.5 for enjoyment. I think I'm going to go slightly a little bit higher this time. I think the blending of the spices is pretty good. It does taste like the sort of thing Redbeard was saying he'd want to try, you know, where it tastes a lot like pumpkin pie. This tastes a lot like pumpkin pie. It's not overly spiced, even though I'd say the cinnamon and the ginger are more pronounced in this one. But it's not to the point where, like, you know, it's cinnamon candy hearts spicy or anything like that. It's just those are the bigger flavors in the spicing on this.
My people
And-
liquefy in a pretty good way.
Jesus.
Female versions, anyway. And so it finishes kind of with a bitter pumpkin pie crust kind of finish. So like the whole drink is kind of like having a liquid pumpkin pie kind of thing.
Nice.
From start to
Sounds
finish.
really good.
Body's a little bit thin. I could use it to be a bit thicker. It would probably add to the experience a little bit.
Chewy.
But yeah, I think I'm going to do double 8s this
Oh.
time around. So I'm slightly upping my personal preference here from the 7.5 I gave it. So yeah, so style and overall, it's going to be double 8s. I've had better pumpkin beers, but this is like super solid, and it's like just a really excellent representation of the style without going crazy in any direction, you know, kind of thing. So it's like a really just the kind of solid. When you see pumpkin beer on the label, and this is kind of what you expect to get, and then maybe there's something extra that's really cool or something, you know. But this should be, you know, like the baseline for what a pumpkin beer should be, in my opinion. So
Nice. It's the Mario Lemieux of pumpkin beers.
Nice. So like a good, like the pumpkin pie end of the spectrum on a pumpkin ale. This is what it should be like. That actually sounds real good.
The one we did for a 101 with all of us, whatever, last year, the Big Rig one that they don't use pumpkin anymore. When that actually had pumpkin in it, that was, in my opinion, like the just distilled essence of pumpkin pie in a beer. But now it's meh.
All right.
So yeah, yours sounds
so-
awesome, Lee.
Right on. Thanks, Lee. Let's go over to what's the girl's name on Halloween?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, no,
Laurie Strode?
Laurie Strode. That's it. Of course, she was a blonde.
Close enough.
Yeah.
It's Peg Bundy. It looks like Peg Bundy.
Hi, I'm Gregory Strode. How's that work for
Laurie
you?
Stroke.
Well, at least I can drink with this wig on. So, beer. So first thing I'll say is I usually like to categorize pumpkin beers into two different styles. There's the pumpkin spice ales, which is sometimes they don't even have pumpkin in them, or they don't taste like they have pumpkin in them, but they just tons and tons of spices. But then there's the ones that actually taste like pumpkin pie in a glass, and unfortunately those are few and far between. In fact, I wouldn't classify any Ontario ones this year as that. Other than, again, who knows? Maybe Cuvée, two of them will actually get that. I'm gonna have to get a deal.
It's not there, but it's closer than. Like, I agree with you.
I have the Lake of Bays, and I'm probably gonna pop by GLB tomorrow, so I'll grab a few pumpkins. I'm gonna try doing that Cuvée and see what it tastes like. But none of these beers individually, to me, get that pumpkin pie in a glass thing. I think the closest one is actually Big Rig, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it sort of veers in that direction of being a dessert beer.
It was so
But it
good,
doesn't-
though. It used to be better.
Oh, it used to be way better. It's not a great beer, but it sort of goes into that style. Whereas all the other ones to me are basically what I'd call the pure pumpkin spice beers. But that being said, I do prefer pumpkin pie in a glass, but I have to work with what I have. I haven't been to the States lately, so I can't get a whole shit ton of pumpkin. Next year I should fix that. And now they have like barrel aged versions of it and all that, and I got hair in my mouth. Ugh. Yeah. Hope it's not a pube. Anyways,
He has a wig on. Hope it's not a pube. Okay.
well, you never know.
It's a wig made of very, very long
we
70s
don't
pubes.
know where this hair originates from. So, Lady Lee's pube wig farm.
It looks like a customer from a woolly mammoth dick.
Pube wig farm.
Wow. All right, Greg.
Times are tough. You got to make money where you can, right? Anyways, enough of this silliness.
So Pippi Greg
beer.
stocking. Fix your.
Oh, Christ.
This beer is definitely malty as fuck. So I suspect, I don't remember last year's at all, and my Untapped doesn't really help me all that much. It is super malty. I suspect it probably wasn't quite as sweet last year. And I normally don't like sweet beers, but it's kind of got a dankness that kind of, I'm probably not using dank correctly, but it sort of has something that kind of counteracts it, like I guess the spices or whatever, and they're very intermingled. Like you don't really, it's harder to kind of differentiate them. It's kind of just a big blob of spices, but it works. It works for me, anyways. Again, I wouldn't classify this as an amazing beer by any means, but you know, I don't classify most pumpkin beers. They're more seasonal fun. It's like a lot of shitty horror movies. They aren't necessarily good, but hey, you watch them in October, they're amazing because 'tis the season. And same thing with this one. So I guess overall, I'm gonna say as a spiced pumpkin ale, it's definitely not pumpkin pie in a glass. But as a spiced pumpkin ale, I'm going to give it a solid 7.5. It's not crazy up there. I've definitely had better ones. And of course, once you get to the States and you start getting to crazy barrel-aged pumpkin beers and shit like that, like, oh my God, it's amazing. But fortunately, Canada has never really caught that trend and they don't give a shit.
You know what? I don't want to really toot his horn that much, but I bet you that buddy Dan out west, some of the breweries that he has, there's probably some pretty fucking
probably
tasty, fancy, off the wall kind of pumpkin beers.
I mean, Dan actually showed us he had a barrel aged pumpkin beer that looked pretty delicious. I'd love to be able to try that. Is that
one of the ones he traded?
No. This is one he bought recently. Like he posted it like a week and a half ago.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if he still has it or not, but that actually looked delicious. But like I picked up a few barrel aged pumpkin beers a few years ago in Michigan before this whole COVID shenanigans. Happened, and I mean, incredibly overpriced. Like, you think beer's expensive in Canada. Holy Christ, go to the States and anything that says barrel aged on it, you're paying like $15 US for a little bottle. But oh my God, was it good. And I was really pissed off that I think one of my cats, I just poured one into my nice Bellwoods glass and I was just ready to enjoy it. I took one sip, my stupid cat knocked it over. I was real pissed off. But that's a whole other story for another day. This is a good beer. I give it I'm gonna give it a 7.5 for overall enjoyment. It's a solid beer. It's definitely more on the malty side. So if you like your beers a little more malty, you'll like this. Not that you buy a pumpkin beer for the hoppiness anyway. I've never had a hoppy pumpkin beer. It might be interesting to try, like a pumpkin IPA or something like that. But if you like your beer a little on the sweet side, sweet but balanced, this is really solid. It's also a very, very full beer. Like, I would actually say it's on high end, medium, possibly even full bodied, which for a pumpkin beer is not something you can usually say. So that's also nice too. It's a nice sipper.
I like the pineapple IPA called a Pipa.
A Pipa.
Pipa.
You mean a pumpkin IPA, and that should never exist. Don't ever utter those words ever.
It shouldn't, but like I'm honestly surprised.
Never.
Nobody either. No one's tried it, which doesn't make sense to me because like how it's just it. Or people have tried it and it's turned out so bad. They're like, no.
They don't ever want to admit.
There's not very many of them, but
Pipa,
I have
though.
tried
Come on, I like Pipa.
pumpkin stouts, and pumpkin stouts can be quite tasty.
I was gonna say if my cat, if either one of my cats ever knocked a full glass of beer over and broke the glass or spilled things, like I would empty my water gun into that cat's face.
Oh, it was the full glass of beer. Plus, it was an expensive glass from Bellwood, so it was basically like a $50 break right there. I was just I was a little pissed off, to be honest. But what are you gonna do?
Cat.
Yeah, I think it was Chloe too, if I'm not mistaken. She's still alive, so I didn't murder her. But I guess
2 words: kitty waterboarding.
Her
my
$50 a beer.
My cats are generally pretty good for not going where I don't want them to. Like, if I don't turn my keyboard off when I leave the house, like I put my computer to sleep kind of shit, I have to like turn the off switch on my keyboard, the wireless function, whatever. Because if I don't, at some point Gandalf will hop on the keyboard and I'll come home to like the login screen with just like the password field filled out like to infinity.
Your account is locked.
She actually sent a whole lot of your dick pics to a lot of exes.
No,
Welcome to another episode of Cat Chat, everybody.
Fucking cats.
You come back to a lot of pussy pictures.
Jesus,
too bad they're cats. Anyway, all right, Greg, thank you for lighting up our life with your jerko lantern.
I do what I can.
Thanks, Greg. That was awesome.
All right. Okay, speaking of awesome, let's go over to Mr. Ashley Sexton, and he's going to carry us out with this. Maybe not carry us Redbeard, but like carry us out with this Great Lakes Brewing surprise.
Carry on our wayward Ashley.
Carry our
I'm glad you
wayward
explained that.
Sexton.
So I got, so pumpkin ale from Great Lakes. It actually smells quite nice. On the pumpkin pie scale of aroma, it's definitely on the sweeter side. So it's picking up more of like what you would like light nutmeg, but like more confectioner sugar. You'd almost like from the aroma, you'd think that there actually was lactose in it, but thank fucking God there isn't. It doesn't smell too sweet, but you know, if you smell a pumpkin pie, you're either going to smell what you perceive as sweetness from the whipped cream or whatever spice that comes up through the pie itself. This one picks up a little bit of like that nutmeg, but it smells a little bit sweeter. Now it's an ale, so I thought it was going to be a little bit heavier in body, maybe a little bit of creaminess, maybe a little bit of, something in between a cream ale and a porter by body wise, something a little bit of viscosity. But this thing drinks like a seltzer. It's very dry. It's very dry, it's very quick, it's very effervescent. Like the carbonation is like 60 minutes old now, but fresh out of the can it was very like spritzy, right? Which actually makes it a pretty easy drink, almost weirdly refreshing for being a pumpkin ale. You know what I mean? I could have easily had 2 of these in this time, but I was reserving itself just so I can sort of sample it a little bit towards the end. But it actually drank a little bit, deceivingly quick, deceivingly dry for being a pumpkin ale. And maybe that I'm just thrown off from having a few bone shakers before this, but I don't know. It helps. I'm sure it helps. It was a weirder experience than what I thought. Hold on, give me a second. And my review of it. What did I say? What did I say? I said nice nutmeg nose with a surprisingly light pumpkin flavor on the sip. And I tried it, although not a fan of the style. So yeah, not a big fan of pumpkin styles. I pretty much read it like exactly what I wrote back then in 2017. Pretty light, not a lot of pumpkin, a little bit of the spice, a little bit of perceived sweetness, and it's all right. I mean, it's not offensive, but it's not blowing my socks off. I'll give it 7s around. And that's it.
Okay, Ash. 7s all around.
I want to knock Ashley's socks off.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Let's go over to one of the ones I've been waiting for, actually. I want to hear how this... What's it called?
Thanks, Greg.
Domani Bertham Le Pauvantale? Something?
Épouvantail.
Épouvantail? Thai?
Épouvantail.
Upavatai.
Pavarotti.
I think it gets too thin. Fucking sneaky as fuck. And it's like really smooth pumpkin. They get the cinnamon, like graham crackers, I guess.
Oh.
Then if you chug it a bit, it turns into a medium body. It's like what the fuck. So it drinks like a 3.5. And it's really smooth. Even spice tastes like pumpkin. So I'll give like a 8.5 out of 10.
Is that for both style and overall?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Then.
Yeah, sure.
Love it.
Nice. All right. Thank you there, Guy. Let's go over to Lady Lee. Let's go over to Mario.
I'm gonna send that out sometime.
Say what?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna ship it out sometime. It's worth it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm showing them out. Just for Greg.
Oh, wait, is that a specific clown?
And I love it.
It looks like a clown I've seen somewhere or something.
Yeah, like every other clown you've seen.
Oh, have a good night, there, Paul.
It's not based on anything. It seems like it's.
Have a good night, Paul. He's heading there.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago.
All right, whatever.
Yeah,
So I realized that I got an old can.
Ooh.
And it shows, and It's unfortunate because I feel like it's from Independent, they probably like left it in the back.
Independent is garbage for putting stuff in the fridge. What's the date on yours?
July.
You know what? Mine is also July, but I got mine at the LCBO on Algonquin. So they keep their shit in the fridge. So yeah, there probably is a pretty Independent has like some of the best beer selection in town, but the worst fridge space. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm talking your turn. I'm sorry.
Hi, Carrie.
Then it's successfully
sorry.
everybody's turn.
I love you.
I know.
I look the same clown. I'm sorry.
Okay, Lily, what's up?
Independent. I have a feeling that Independent left their like a case of it in the back somewhere, and didn't refrigerate it until they're like, "Oh, hey, it's a pumpkin beer. Let's have it cold because it's like October." Because it lost any sort of hope. Like I can taste malt. I do realize that it did say to drink between 6 and 10 degrees Celsius. So, it could be that because I drank it right out of the fridge. But I'm letting it warm up, and there might be this tiniest of hint that's back there, but realistically, it just tastes like a red beer, like just a simple red beer. Like I don't taste much from it. I think I got a sip where I might have thought I tasted like some sort of spice, but realistically, it's a nice tasty red beer. It's just that's all it tastes like, and I think that is why. I think it's because it's an older can and it was probably just left out to like warm them up, and then eventually they're like, oh yeah, these are gonna sell fast. Let's just throw them in the cooler. Finally, but it's one of those that I find pumpkin as well because it's not like a dominant flavor. You could lose it very easily. So because they're a malt forward beer and malt has a stronger flavor, if you don't refrigerate or don't drink it right away or whatever the case may be, you tend to lose that flavor. And same with like drinking it a lot colder too. You tend to lose that flavor. So I'm actually pretty disappointed. I tried all the other ones that were in North Bay, and this was the last one that I hadn't tried, so I decided to do it. And I'm not happy with it. Like I'm not impressed with it.
I feel kind of bad myself. Like you were telling me you're going to do an all-night order, and I'm like, oh, it's here in town. And it was like, nope, all-night order might have given you a fresher can, possibly, potentially,
It's
or something.
Just,
well, yeah, you said Independent. They actually had that in their one fridge. They had that in there. Because yeah, they only have the one fridge and they rotate shit, and it's like
probably had it like a flat like cases of it or something sitting out in the stock room for months or something.
That's how they do it. Yeah, there's a caged off area in the back. Like I used to do the hood fan and shit. Like there's a caged off area with a lock where they keep all the beer so staff can't, all the other stuff is not locked. But yeah,
Carrie, love you.
All
right, red beer. Okay, Lee, keep going.
I'm not talk. I'm adding. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to talk over.
I'm getting itchy.
All right.
Her pube stash is.
You gotta let the lady finish.
At least it's not down south.
So, yeah, I just think that there was potential to this beer, but it's all gone now because I guarantee you they probably left it in their warehouse before it even got to Independent in general, and we're just like, oh yeah, it's cool. Let's just leave it out, like they do with all their crap, unfortunately. So, I'm getting a couple there. It does say it's a malt forward beer ale, so I'm gonna at least give it like credit on that. So it's gonna get a 4 for style, because had they not mentioned malt forward, I think I would have just given it a 1. Because there's nothing in here that replicates anything pumpkin. Like I just think like I got a bad can, or an old can, or whatever the case may be. I think it's just ruined. But personal preference, like I'm not gonna knock it because it does taste nice. Like it does taste like a nice red beer. It just sucks what happens. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So 7.5 for overall.
7.5 for personal preference.
Right.
She's petty rating the beer.
Okay.
No, I like the red. Like it's a red ale. Like it tastes like a red ale, and I do like red ales. So I am enjoying the flavor. It's just as a pumpkin beer, it's just lost its pumpkinness to it.
It's a red ale. It goes with the Mario hat. Wow.
Is that a Is that what's on the bottom of your glass, Lee? Looked like something.
Diving in the water.
Oh, because I
Huh?
thought it was. Oh, I thought it was either
Oh,
like
neat.
a sexy pole dancer or two people performing a sex act of some sort.
I'm sticking with
it's my
Lee's
light glass.
imagination on this. All
Well, I
right.
mean, I figure it was Lee. She might have a glass with dirty pictures on it. That's all I'm saying.
What's Greg got now?
He's got his clown. We're just competing clowns.
I got a clown. It's supposed to do stuff, but it seems to be out of batteries. Work, damn you!
Well, tell your wife to take him out of her vibrator and put him back in the clown.
My wife's vibrator is plug-in. Thank you very much. We don't use
Oh,
batteries
It's
in this
just a
house.
lithium-ion battery pack. All right. So I think it's my turn to pipe up on here, and I'm actually starting to feel it because I've now chugged through 2 cans of this stuff. Yeah, like out of this beer, got a little bit left. Get a nice molasses cookie, kind of like pumpkin pie. It's not like a super complex at being either one, but it's got a nice flavor to it. It's not super sweet. It has a bit of a. The one thing I really like about it is kind of like this toffee caramelly aftertaste that I get. It almost tastes like a good brown ale or an English bitter. It kind of reminds me of like the likes of like Hobgoblin or Fuller's 1845 or something like that, with that nice chewy kind of background. But it's also got a good medium to light body. And it's very easy drinking. The only thing that really kind of puts me off on this thing is that it's got this big earthy note, and it's very much a lingering earthy character that goes down the back of the palate and just kind of lays there for a while, which I'm not a crazy fan of. Otherwise, I could see myself like just downing these. And I almost wonder that if this had been aged, like this is the reverse, like these were probably canned within the last month, and if that's the case, if I had aged these maybe like 3-4 months, like the ones that lately, as long as they're properly refrigerated, I imagine that earthy note would have died off a little, and you probably would have this really nice sessionable pumpkin ale. Like that's the only thing wrong with this thing here. It's got that big earthy note that I'm not crazy about. But everything else has got, like, it does skew towards, the flavor profile does skew towards the pumpkin pie end of the scale, but it has the light, easy drinking body of the other side, which it's a great combination of both. So for the style, I'm going to give it an 8, and overall enjoyment, going to give it a 7.5. All right.
You want me to go back to comments?
Yep.
I have a haunted stove. That's what that is. It's a haunted stove.
Sure it is. It's not just a piece of garbage. Okay.
Wow, rude.
I mean, tell me where I'm lying.
You're not.
So let's see. Let's see where we were here. Oh yeah, so we're past radar saying why thanks, Nick.
Go up earlier.
Dan saying being a good husband. That's why he's not in here. Paul says something about covering her in semen, most likely. West Coast Nick, if you are as well endowed as East Coast Dan is.
Unlikely.
And then Greg saying you have 168 hours in a week to be a good husband, but Nick only asks you
He's
for
not wrong.
1.5 at this point, but Well, no, actually, it's only been 1, right? Yeah, it is.
Doesn't ask for a lot.
Yeah, bad friend Dan. Paul says I wrote a Wendigo screenplay. One day maybe I'll shoot it. Might try to make a novelization if
Writing the screenplay.
of it. I mean, Paul does shoot movies. Good thing I'm a masochist, Nick. I'll suffer through it. We're talking about the length of the show. Paul goes on to say, Redbeard, I made a good harvest mead and cider. I also made an apple pie cider version with moonshine and vanillas.
I saw that. That sounds damn tasty. I like me some mead. Is drastically different from beer in terms of like it generally is a really really sweet thing from what I've had, but
Yeah,
it can still be really fucking tasty.
Mead's technically a wine. It's a honey wine, basically, is what it is.
Touché.
So,
You're a honey one.
Oh,
thank you.
Or a honey badger.
All right.
And yeah, then we already mentioned Paul said good
Was
night. 'Cause
heading
He's
off,
going
yeah.
to be a good dad and carve pumpkins with his daughters.
Did I hope to hell you save those seeds, bake up those seeds. Pumpkin seeds are one of the best damn snacks of this time of year, man. They're
Paul
so
just
easy
said.
to do, but so good.
Paul
so
just
good.
said pumpkins officially carved.
Oh, he came
there you
back.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how long they took.
There you go.
All right.
He can answer me then. Paul, did you save the seeds? Cook that shit up, yo.
All right, so I'm gonna put Redbeard back up on the screen here so he can talk about something else. Of all the beers you heard tonight, what would you rather have had?
Such a dick. From everything I've heard, I think I'd probably go with the one that Mr. I guess I'm reversed over here. Mr. Lee, had. It sounds pretty pumpkiny and
Okay.
tasty. Yeah,
All
and
right.
I've had well, close second. That one that Guy had. I don't know. I feel like he didn't just. It might have been as good, but he didn't. Like Lee did a very, very good job. Like went off kind of about the description and stuff, and it wasn't bad, but I don't know, just like Lee made me want his beer more than you did. I don't know what to say. It's fucking
I can just go to brew house. Like fuck it.
yeah. You can. That's what it is right there. I'm mad at you because you have that in your life like every day if you want, and I'm jealous of you.
All
So
right.
I have to give it to Lee.
All right, so
Uh,
Greg. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Nick.
It'll load. So, of all the beers you heard here tonight, which one would you have rather have had?
I would really like to have tried Ashley Sexton's GLB pumpkin ale. That would be fantastic
Christ.
to try one of these
Nice.
days. But I
Again,
don't know.
you aren't like a 30-second walk away from them anymore. So it's got to be more exotic for you these days, eh?
It's like I have to make a deliberate 15-minute drive. It's terrible. But
Whoa.
let's. I don't know. Probably least chance of me getting Guy's beer. Well, yeah. Let's go with Guy. Why not? Let's vote for Guy.
Yeah,
Right.
best label art for sure.
Definitely. All right, thank you, Greg. Let's move over to Ashry. Ash.
I wanted Greg's beer to begin with. I didn't want to drink the GLB beer. I wanted to drink the Flying Monkey beer.
So in other words, you want a GLB.
Next time I'm in Welland, I'll bring you one.
All right.
There we go.
I'm recording Ashley's vote as for
Greg.
Greg. Oops, sorry, Ash. I'm just writing down. All right, so next up is Guy. Guy. Hi, Guy. Of all the beers you heard here tonight, which one would you have rather have had?
I was gonna say Lee, but I haven't tried that Flying Monkeys one. Not that one. I am a Flying Monkeys slut. I'm the opposite of a drunk fuckaroo. So I'm gonna go Greg.
Wow. All right,
What's
then.
what is the opposite of a pokeroo?
Not a dick.
Poker in the poo.
A functional adult, maybe.
Not
There
a
we
dick. No, I think Guy wins with. Sorry, Greg wins with not a dick. That was great.
All righty.
Well
Thank you,
played.
Guy. Let's go over to Ashley. I just clicked on Lady Lee and she just left the chat.
Ah, there she's
Hey,
back.
Lady Lee.
Probably the same bug as I am.
Yeah.
Like,
Did
literally, as I
you
clicked the screen.
you clicked on her? Discord was like, I'll be back in a second.
Yep. Yeah, Discord was like, fuck your couch. Laylee, you hear us?
Discord is Rick James.
All right, so of all the beers you heard here tonight, which one would you have rather have had?
I'm gonna go with Mr. Russell's beer.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. We should ask Lee which beer he would like too, by the way.
Yeah, you kind of.
That's true. That's true. Mr. Lee. Okay.
Wow.
It's not your turn to vote.
Nice.
I didn't realize I skipped
Yeah.
over you.
Yeah,
No,
you did. And I had. It was waiting between two. It's like Nick's sounded really interesting, but since you skipped me, you prick, I'm going with Geese.
All right.
Hey,
Well deserved.
Well, it was all part of my master plan because otherwise there would have been a three-way tie. But Lee I'm gonna vote for Geese as well and now there's 3 votes for Guy, so he wins instead of Lee.
Four
So
votes, I think.
He kind of shot himself in the foot.
I think he got 4 votes for Gee. Didn't Redbeard go for Gee too?
Redbeard voted
No,
for
I went
Lee.
Lee.
I went for
Yeah.
Lady,
Lee.
Lady Lee
Lee.
voted
It
for
was
Lee.
close.
Greg voted for Guy. Ashley voted for Greg, and Guy voted for Greg, and I voted for Guy's. Greg voted for Guy's, and Lee voted for Guy. So that's 3 for Guy. So that means that Guy of Drinking in Canada is tonight's winner of the pumpkin beer.
He is the champion, our friend.
He'll keep on drinking till the end.
Congratulations,
Do-do-do-do.
Why
Okay.
are people waving? What's happening?
We're ending the
Yeah.
show.
Right
Yeah, we're
back.
gonna end the show.
Oh,
We haven't talked
I got
about.
something I got something to play us out, but what's next
Well,
week's beer?
I was gonna say yeah. We had somebody I'm sure asked already at some point what next week's beer is. We're gonna do
yeah.
Wait,
Somebody asked in 15 different languages. It was great.
yeah Samuel Adams Wicked Easy Hazy Session IPA Hazy Lager. We're gonna do
Boston
that
Lager.
next week. Finally get this thing out of the way and out of my fridge. So
I got something special to play us out, Nick.
I'm scared.
me too.
I'm excited.
Hold me.
Wait here. Let me. I'll get this going at the same time. Wait, that's not right. There we go. No. Okay.
Or to watch
Yeah,
your penis beers.
don't forget.
Wash
your beers.
Wash your penis. What?
Close your eyes and you will find that you are in Frankenstein. Perhaps the Count will find. Make his motto today.
Needs to be a little louder. I can't hear too well.
Yeah, it's not coming in very well.
Pennsylvania. He can return to Transylvania. So welcome where the sun won't shine to the castle of
Right.
That
All
was
right.
weird.
Yep.